Coming up in the morning edition, new curfew hours in effect. Also,
2021 is going to be a really strong year for us.
Grand Bahama prepares to welcome more visitors to the island. How is the Department of Corrections managing under the pandemic?
We are not slacking up on our protocol that we put in place.
And
everybody want a pastor as a husband, and so he would play on their emotions to get their money.
a new local television sitcom for the Broadcasting Corporation. We've got those stories and much more when the morning edition comes. Right back. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thank you so much for waking up with us. That cold front we told you about is in the vicinity of the southeast Bahamas and will continue to move slowly southeastwards. Meantime, a robust high pressure will result in brisk winds and cooler temperatures. Your weather generally breezy and turning cooler during the night hours. Out to our streets where Lloyd Allen and the morning traffic team are standing by with your Wednesday traffic commute.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Yes, good morning, LaDawn. Good morning, Bahamas. It's a great start to your Wednesday morning. Of course, this is a pleasant change from last evening where some parts of the capital dipped in temperatures of 70 degrees and possibly less. This morning, we're at the location of Carmichael Road and Somila Butler Highway. Now, we took the southbound lane coming down Somila Butler to this location, and I can tell you already this morning, significant traffic is building at that intersection of Somila Butler and Tonic Williams Darling Highway. And so the advisory to motorists this morning, if you need to utilize that area, you want to head out nice and early to avoid any delays. If you are heading out now, expect some delays and consider an alternative route. This morning we're also joined by Corporal Patrick Kemp from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, who's giving us a look at traffic over the past 24-hour period.
Good morning, Mr. Allen, and good morning, Bahamas. And you're absolutely correct. Persons would expect and should expect a slight delay, especially in this area, because of the heavy flow of traffic. And it's just not in the Western District, it's pretty much Rhode Island during this time of the year. But in the last 24 hours or so, we've had some 8 accidents. One of those was hit and run, the other would have been involving injuries. A gentleman would have been struck in the Eastern District of the Prince Charles Road area sometime last evening. And I'm going to continue to ask persons to drive with due care and attention and exercise a whole lot of patience, especially during this kind of time.
Now, before we wrap up this morning, I know this morning you also want to lightly touch on the issue of persons, or rather the increase of some stealing matters or vehicular parts. Talk to us about what motorists can do to assist police.
Well, by now, a lot of us would have seen a whole lot of videos circulating about persons and their activities where they're ripping off your front bumper and other parts of your vehicle. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say it like it is. If you're driving, we don't encourage the use of your cell phone, of course, but in emergency cases, if something seems odd to you, it seems suspicious, please, in order for us to deal with the matter quickly and as safely as possible, you have to report it. I would prefer you to report that to Control Room 911, 919, inform them that something looks suspicious, a vehicle traveling around with some extra car parts. Give us an opportunity to stop that vehicle and to put some questions to these persons as to the reason for them having this. And if they can't prove why they have what they have, well, we're going to take further action. There's a lot of activity that will be happening during this kind of time, and I'm going to ask all persons continue to be observant and to continue to be very vigilant. Also, if I may, persons who are shopping, please try to put your stuff in your vehicle in a manner where it's not so visible. You do have persons who will pass your vehicle there in the parking lot or even on the street, and they may make an attempt to get in your vehicle to take what is rightfully yours.
All right, so some good advice coming in there from Officer Kemp this morning. And we conclude our morning traffic report again coming in from Carmichael Road and Somila Butler Highway for the morning edition. Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
News off the top this Wednesday, the Bahamas is seeing a record drop in its COVID-19 cases. The latest figures are showing a mere 2 new positive findings here in New Providence. The numbers for the past 2 weeks have been trending down handsomely. Currently, 16 patients are being treated in hospital for the virus. With this downward trend in COVID numbers, new emergency orders have been issued extending the curfew in New Providence, Grand Bahama, Eleuthera, and Exuma. The new curfew will be imposed between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. Additionally, restaurants are permitted to operate utilizing indoor and outdoor dining, provided that the maximum seating capacity of 50% is adhered to with a minimum of 3 square feet per person. Over in Grand Bahama, beaches and parks are permitted to open between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. And in Abaco, food stores will be permitted to operate between the hours of 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. Grocery stores, pharmacies, gas stations will open Monday to Saturday from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Meantime, at the prison, visitation has not yet resumed. So far, the prison has only seen 2 confirmed COVID-19 cases, but officials at the Department of Corrections say they will keep their strategy in place to ensure those numbers remain down. Prison Commissioner Charles Murphy says he is pleased with the results.
We are sticking rigidly to our COVID protocol that we put in place, our strategy that we put in place so as to mitigate against the entry of the virus, and that is what keeping us safe. We are not slacking up on our protocol that we put in place. That is, of course, wearing of masks, washing of hands, keeping the social distancing, and so forth.
During this pandemic, the court system has also made various adjustments to its legal services. The latest move involves the implementation of a new electronic payment system in the magistrates' courts that is expected to make payments in family matters more convenient and efficient. Chief Justice Sir Brian Marie says the court automated payment system, or CAPS, will be implemented later this month. Meantime, the nation's second city, Grand Bahama, has seen an uptick in travel since the borders reopened last month, and tourism officials say they expect numbers to get even higher. Italia Hall reports.
On November 1st, the mandatory 14-day quarantine that was required upon arrival into the country was lifted. But General Manager of the Ministry of Tourism on Grand Bahama, Stephen Johnson, says there are still a few protocols that travelers must follow, and that includes a mandatory survey.
Got to come in with their negative PCR test. And if you're here during the 5th day, they obviously have to take an antigen test. And basically, we're trying to keep ourselves safe, and we're trying to keep them safe as well, coming here into Grand Bahama Island. So, you know, we're really happy with the health and safety protocols. We believe that 2021 is going to be a really strong year for us.
The general manager says so far, statistics show that people are lined up to travel to Grand Bahama next year.
Fishing, boating, diving, the niche markets, and obviously to attract big groups to Grand Bahama is going to be later on in 2021. Fraternal groups, Masonic groups, religious tourism are going to be some of the additional growth opportunities for Grand Bahama. We know it's going to happen. We're not just saying it. We have stats to prove that people are going to be coming here to Grand Bahama. So we got to be ready. All of our service has to be impeccable, and everybody has to be ready to perform.
Johnson says the reopening of the tourism sector is vital for Grand Bahama.
We've been through Dorian. Most people have suffered a big blow, and haven't worked since Dorian, going into COVID-19. And so we've got to learn to work with COVID. This is something that's happening all around the world, and it's good to see that there's some progress being made as far as vaccines. And I know it's a long way out for the testing, but for Grand Bahama Island, we're really happy that we can put people back to work.
It's Talia Hall.
Stay close, we've got more right after this. You're watching The Morning Edition. Every Bahamian has a role to play when it comes to keeping the number of HIV and AIDS infections down, especially as we fight another global pandemic. With the theme Global Solidarity and Shared Responsibility, President of the Bahamas AIDS Foundation, Lady Camille Barnett, says she is concerned about the setbacks posed to the foundation's outreach program for children affected by the AIDS virus.
We have an outreach program for adolescents, children and adolescents infected and affected by HIV and AIDS. And they would come to us 5 days a week, and we would feed them a hot meal and help them with their homework and do a whole lot of other things with them. And we've not been able to do that. But what we've done instead is delivered groceries to them once a week. We take groceries to their families because we know that they are vulnerable. We don't really want them out and about. We don't want them standing in long food lines at the food banks. And so we are trying to collect the food ourselves, purchase the food ourselves, then take it to them to avoid them having to actually go out and be out and about. We want them to remain home and stay and be safe.
Additionally, Lady Barnett says Bahamians must assist in eradicating the stigma attached to the killer disease by becoming beacons of hope to persons living with the non-curable disease.
You cannot contract AIDS by hugging someone who's HIV positive. You're not going to contract it by drinking from the same cup that they have, touching them in any way. You contract HIV by having unprotected sex with someone who's HIV positive. That's the main form of transmission in the Bahamas. And the more people realize that, the more that they will begin to accept persons who are HIV positive and not be afraid of the disease.
The question of learning styles and special need requirements for students across the board becoming a growing discussion now more than ever, especially due to COVID-19. Lloyd Allen has more from the University of the Bahamas, which is now assisting students with physical and mental challenges.
Today, we have two professionals from the University of the Bahamas, Dean of Students Joe Stubbs and Compliance and Disabilities Officer Erin Brown. To both of you, welcome to the morning edition.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Now, diving right in, the popular VARC model identifies 4 primary types of learners: visual, auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic. Each learning type responds best to a different method of teaching. Now, Joe, let's begin with you. What options for these types of learners exist on your campus?
Well, at the University of the Bahamas, we encourage all of our faculty to work with all of our students. So we understand that there are multiple types of learners like which you have mentioned. So you have the tactile and kinesthetic learners, the auditory learners. So in this platform, professors have the autonomy to do whatever they think is best, because once again, each class or each major requires different things. In addition to that, we have what's called the academic advising and counseling department. So whenever a student needs assistance or help in any aspect of learning, they can always go to them and seek guidance and or assessment to further understand the best way that they can learn in class.
And Erin, special need has gained significant momentum in recent years at University of the Bahamas. But tell us, are there still challenges for students with special needs, or is everything a bed of roses?
Well, that's a wonderful question. And one thing that I would want to remind everyone that when we're speaking to students with disabilities or students with specific needs, it is definitely an adaptive environment.
And as we prepare to wrap up from both of you, what advice do you offer to students, both current and prospective, in achieving their highest potentials?
All right, so I'll go first. My advice would always be to be proactive. I think we as Bahamians, we're very much reactive and last minute. And when you come to the collegiate level, you have to understand that the intensity, it becomes quite more intense.
And Erin, what about you?
We want to encourage you to self-identify. You need to make sure that the spaces that you are in are aware of your specific needs. And therefore, you're going to engage self-advocacy. Transitioning into undergraduate, we're used to persons in our grade schools advocating for us. In your undergraduate studies, you're going to have to advocate for yourself. In order to receive help, you must ask for it.
Well, some great advice there from both of you. Thank you so much for speaking with us. For the morning edition, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
The pandemic has led to increasing demands on many Bahamians, causing financial and emotional pains. Clinical psychologist at the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center, Rochelle Basin, is encouraging residents to remain positive and healthy.
Like I say, in this age of social distancing and isolation, and curfews and this sort of thing, then we want to make an extra effort to use those tools that are available to us to reach out to family and friends and people in need. So staying connected is really important. So for instance, things like exercise and proper nutrition, meditation, prayer, journaling, those types of things. Practicing gratitude, getting up in the morning and remembering those things that you do have to be grateful for, and maybe posting that somewhere or putting some reminder up somewhere to remind yourself that there are still things to be grateful for, even in the midst of all the chaos.
The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture People's Choice Athlete of the Year award handed out during a live television program on the ZNS television network on Monday. The host, Charles Fisher, caught up with the winner.
And the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture Athlete of the Year, tennis player Sydney Clark. Congratulations. Woo! The excitement is still swinging for tennis player Sydney Clark after being named the top athlete of the year 2020. The University of Alabama Birmingham Freshman School even posting on their website, congratulations.
I am very excited to be named the 2020 Athlete of the Year. It is a big accomplishment for me, and I'm on cloud 9 right now, so I'm just enjoying every moment of it. I was very shocked to see that I won. Even though I knew I got the most likes out of everyone else, I was still surprised when they announced my name.
A challenging year with COVID and starting her first year of college, she is mentally set.
COVID is very challenging, and adjusting to it at first was really, really hard. It seemed like everything was going downhill, but I just filled my life with a lot of positivity and just looking ahead. And I'm just thankful and grateful for where I am today. And all I'm doing is pushing through COVID until things get better and making sure that I stay on the right track.
Right now, she is balancing tennis and education.
School has been great. I'm very thankful for my academic team who measures my progress and helps me, gives me all the resources I need to be successful in the classroom. Tennis-wise, I am thankful for my coach who's very supportive and passionate about what he does. I've seen a tremendous progress in my game ever since I started working with him. So it has been fun. This semester has been fun being able to go to school despite COVID-19 and getting to work with my coach.
Congratulations to all the athletes that were nominated, and special congratulations to tennis player Sydney Clark, who has a bright future. For the Morning Edition, I'm Charles Fisher.
Thanks a lot, Fisher. And still to come, a new local sitcom coming to ZNS TV that will keep you laughing and clapping. You're watching The Morning Edition. Well, get ready to laugh your hats off as a new local sitcom opens on the ZNS television network this Thursday. Charles Fisher sat down with the producer.
Oh my gosh, Brother Fisher. It is such a momentous occasion to be here being interviewed by you.
It's a privilege as well to be interviewing Pastor Gumpa. Apostle Utah Taylor role will go into the character of the pastor with a serious twist.
Yes, he loved God, but he loved money more. And he saw that the Bahamian women were a bit gullible when it comes to God and church. You know, they always want to be in church lifting up holy hands. So he came up with this plot where he could fleece the woman them, you know, because he's a good-looking fella and everybody want a pastor as a husband. And so he would play on their emotions to get their money.
Now he hopes the message does not ruffle some feathers.
I may have some church people who may not like what they see. It shows, you know, the sweethearting. It shows the lust or the greed for that filthy lucre. And it's just, but I did it for fun.
Half hour each episode was in the making for quite some time.
I began doing this in 2012. And I was involved in the church. And I was doing a lot of productions for a lot of people. And to be honest, I kind of saw this thing where they can put me with the church, right? But I can be honest. There are some people who literally just doing this thing for the money. Because when you could go to a service and people collect like $300, for rent, and then they still coming back to you and asking that you sign an IOU that you could pay over a period of months, I believe that can't be of God. And so that's why I decided to do the sitcom. Production was done in one place. I had a studio, and I would just change up the set, change up the paint, whatever needed to be done. We did it all in one place.
So why the African twist and not from a Bahamian angle?
Because a lot of Bahamians were bringing those African pastors and prophets over to preach so that they could and to do healing and deliverance as they claim, so they could fleece the flock. Friends, family, and pastor. Friends, we have people like Nadine Thomas Brown, who has been around for a long time. She produced Roots and Culture. Then we have Elle Spett. You know, Elle would have produced this show called Island Pulse TV. You know, she's no stranger to the camera. And then we have people like Carl Spence and several other. I remember the woman name. I ain't past the Goomba character now. I remember the man name.
First show will be aired right here on the ZNS Television Network Thursday, December 3rd at 8:30 p.m.
Response has been crazy. People who are seeing the ads, the commercials, they've been reaching out to me and they say they can't wait to see it. They'll get a positive vibe, and the jokes that you know, everything may not be true, but they'll get some jokes out of it, and they'll get the experience of that church life. It's not a church sitcom, but it's a sitcom based on the way some pastors or some people operate.
Friends, family, and Pastor Goompa, a must-watch. For the Morning Edition, I'm Charles Fisher.
A must-watch indeed. Thanks a lot, Fisher. Well, oftentimes you hear reports about our young men engaging in negative behavior or a life of crime. But one budding 8-year-old entrepreneur is hoping to turn that into something positive by creating a business to help his customers cool down during the hot summer months.
I have blueberry, raspberry lemonade. I have strawberry.
Every Friday morning, you will find 8-year-old Nathaniel Pinder selling flavored ice cups for just $1.50. The budding businessman, who's in the 3rd grade at the UNESCO Center for Academic Excellence in Palmdale, says he came up with the idea in hopes of getting Bahamians to unfreeze their brains in these scorching hot temperatures.
So we were thinking, and then we came with the name Brain Freeze. So then we thought of brain freeze, and then we thought of things that were cool. And then we decided to go up on cups, because we thought cups are the coolest out of all.
A visibly shy Nathaniel boasts a clientele of about 12 customers and hopes business expands in the future. His father, Neil Pinder Jr., says with all the negative stereotypes about young men, he's proud his son is on a positive path.
When he first came up with the idea of wanting to be a business owner, I know we sat down and we spoke about different options, and you know, he came up with this one, and we're gonna push him, show him how to exuberate that customer service for his customers and the hard work behind it, and yes, he's making me proud every day that I see him getting up wanting to do his business.
Neil's hoping more fathers jump on the bandwagon and become a positive influence in shaping young boys into becoming well-rounded men.
For Nathaniel at this age of 8 to set his mind to a particular task, I'm going to encourage him, and as long as he has the drive and the determination, I'll help him, and hopefully he could get some of his friends and other young boys around the community would see what he's doing and want to jump on board.
Nathaniel plans to add some additional flavors to Brain Freeze in the new year. Pretty good. Best of luck to you, Nathaniel. Well, the traditional Junkanoo parades may have been canceled this year, but KFC Nassau has come up with an idea for Junkanooers to get their creative juices flowing for a chance to win cash and a whole lot of prizes. The initiative is called Junkanoo Buckets, a competition where Junkanooers are asked to create a unique Junkanoo headpiece using a KFC chicken bucket. The winning headpiece will receive $5,000. The second place winner will take home $3,000, and third place will walk away with $1,500. KFC Nassau will also give Junkanoo groups the opportunity to compete regardless of size. Group 1 must have 350 members or more, and Group 2 must have 349 members or less, and must represent any Bahamian island or settlement. Entry deadline is January 4th, 2021, and voting will be closed on January 8th, 2021. KFC will announce the winners on January 11, 2021. For the complete rules on the KFC Bucket competition, you can log on to junkanoobuckets.kfcnassau.com. And that's a wrap for us on this nippy Wednesday morning. For the entire team, I'm LaDon Davis. Make it a great day.
The bush woman is what they call me. Come to me if you need a cure. You're gonna get your high fever, boy. I got what you're looking for. Something to relieve the pressure, something to relieve the pain. This bush, it got plenty power, cause the blind man to see again. Come and get you some of this. You know you need